Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition of 49ers Live tonight, hosted by yours truly, Professor B. We're at the Satellite Digital Media Studios here in San Francisco, here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios Candlestick Man Cave. Welcome to this another edition of 49ers Live tonight. We're here. Niners enjoying the weekend off. They had a light practice today, as they'll have their regular off day tomorrow. Their Tuesday off day. They'll have the regular the they'll have the regular off day tomorrow. They get the extra practice, and then they'll be back at work for a full Wednesday. They'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday before, of course, they'll leave to the Bay Area off day, and then they'll be traveling down to South Florida Friday afternoon after their practice, and then they will take on the Miami Dolphins next Sunday at Hard Rock Stadium in South Florida. That's going to be a late game, 1:25 kickoff time. That game will be the first time the Niners will be back in that building since Super Bowl 54 when they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. In that Super Bowl, of course, that's one Niner fans would love to forget. And also, the last time the Niners played there was back in 2016. The stadium, the Hard Rock Stadium, was then originally known as Joe Robbie Stadium. That was, of course, the site of the Niners' two memorable Super Bowl wins when they beat the Bengals in Super Bowl 23, the Joe Montana, the John Taylor touchdown, and then, of course, when Steve Young, when they beat the Chargers in Super Bowl 29 3 decades ago. So we're going to, the big news of the day, of course, the 49ers suspending linebacker DeVonte Campbell for 3 games, conduct detrimental to the team, after that ugly outburst of last Thursday night when he refused to go in the game. And then hearing more stories is general manager John Lynch, as we're going to take a read of this quote, what he had said. We'll just wait. Here we go. So this was a statement from the 49ers president of football operations, general manager John Lynch, issued a statement on DeVonte Campbell. We have suspended DeVonte Campbell for 3 games due to conduct detrimental to the team. We will have no further comment on the matter. So there you have it. That's what, and that was what he did, was very disrespectful, totally disrespectful what he did, to leave the game like that in the third quarter. And it was reports that John Lynch came from his suite, took the elevator down on the field, told him to leave the sideline immediately. And kudos to John Lynch, who kind of sending a message that if you don't want to play, get into the game, do not be on the sideline. And because of this, DeVondre Campbell now, he's going to lose 3 game checks per game, and the 49ers also have the option to go after that $111,660 of his $3.5 million signing bonus as well. And, like we said, for him to do that was just totally wrong, selfish. I know it's been very selfish, and this is kind of another what has been a microcosm the entire season. What he did was not okay. If I was the GM of the 49ers, I would have probably done the same thing. That you don't go do stuff like that. You don't go up there and just alienate your teammates. And then there was some stuff by what Nick Bosa said about him in the locker room, and he said some things, and Bosa kind of overheard it, and he kind of refrained for saying anything back because that could start a fight in the locker room. Not the appropriate time to do it. So it finally came to roost when his actions on the sideline dictated he did not want to come on the field, and John Lynch came out of his box and told him to get up on out of there, leave the sidelines immediately. And you have security coming in there, and but he's going to lose his because and here are some of the comments. And I think it was we're trying to figure it out though. This was a clip from last Sunday. What Jay Glazer said on the pregame show about the beyond deviant correction on DeVonte Campbell's conduct. This is what Fox Sports Jay Glazer reported on Sunday during the pregame show. Let's listen to this clip.
Down there.
Okay, first let me tell you, the 49ers are trying to suspend him. They're working with the league office to see what's the max they can do. And even if he wanted to come and apologize and come back, players don't want it. But you're asking what happened behind the scenes. They started seeing about the second quarter, he was refusing to go in. So John Lynch actually went down there in the fourth quarter and confronted him on saying, you don't want to go in the game. You're refusing. Yes, it was Lynch who sent him in the locker room. By the way, I got players who called me after and said, hey, we've heard you talk about this alter ego of John Lynch, this 47 red character. Man, we saw it. That dude is crazy. Oh. They all saw it firsthand.
I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand. You don't want 47 red. You want John Lynch.
Don't. That's exactly right.
You're telling me that a guy refuses to go into the game when the coach says go in and he says no, and you can't suspend him without going through all this red tape.
Well, how much they could suspend him, because they don't want to just sit there and give him one game. They'd love to give him 3 games, but there's certain rules.
Why not get rid of him?
Because then he can get paid by somebody else.
If you cut him, you have to pay him the rest of the year.
And he would benefit more than if you suspend him and he doesn't get paid.
How you do that to your teammates?
Yeah.
That's my problem.
All right. Thank you very much, Jay. We got much more coming here on Fox NFL Sunday.
All right.
And that was the report from Fox Sports Jay Glazer. They talked about that yesterday morning on the Fox pregame show on Fox. It was Jay Glazer along with Kurt Menefee, Terry Bradshaw, Jimmy Johnson, Michael Strahan, talking about and even Jay Glazer had reported that there's some of the players hit him up on his phone, told him they were disgusted, they don't want him on the team. And I heard some of the comments with George Kittle, Nick Bosa, and them said last Thursday night after the game. The ditch your teammates like that was not cool at all, and I'm glad that John Lynch came in there and kind of lit a fire. And this is a single message, but there's some more from this. We're going to hear from more. This is from former Philadelphia Eagles safety and former New York Jets head coach, former Arizona State head coach. This is also what Herm Edwards said on Sports Center earlier in the day. We're going to listen to that clip. This is what Herman Edwards said as well.
You basically walked out on your football team. You weren't injured. You decided, you know what? I had enough. I'm going in. Really? You can't tap out. That's not an option. You can never tap out.
You played other sports, Coach. You were a basketball player in your day. You flirted with baseball a little bit. You got friends in both of those professional sports leagues. I mean, stories you tell about Reggie Jackson on this desk. And I invoke that to ask, what is special about football? What is different about football to where this is such an egregious misstep from Campbell?
It's the ultimate team game, and every player knows it when he signs on. This is a team, and it really doesn't matter what your record is, by the way. Whether you haven't won a game or you're trying to win a game, record has nothing to do with it. It's about the men in the locker room. It's about the organization. It's about the coaches. When you start something in life, you finish it. And
that's right.
You can't tap out. You can't say, oh, by the way, It's the third quarter. I want to.
The Chrome extension everyone will be using in 2025. I feel like I just found a Google cheat code.
Coach didn't play me, so I'm going to go to the locker room. Really?
You mentioned the win-loss record. The Niners are 6-8. It's their most losses at this point of the season since 2020. So a different season. And for Campbell by extension. That's Herm Edwards.
All right, that was Herm Edwards. His thoughts he talked earlier today on ESPN SportsCenter on Monday Night Live before the game tonight, talking about, how you go tap out. Let me give you, in perspective, a little bit of a pet peeve. When I was like 9 years old, they were playing a baseball game over at the Hayward Park here in the city. I'll never forget it. I struck out, I think, once or twice, and I just quit. I didn't go back into the outfield, and they won't let me come back again because I refused to play the outfield. I learned one thing very quickly, and I learned as a young age at 9 years old. And it still resembles me. It still rings in my system 38 years later as a 9-year-old. They were teaching me a lesson that you never, it was just a pickup game of baseball, that you never quit. Even if you have a bad day, you stay after it. You don't go up there and quit. You're going to go 0 for 3. You're going to have your moments of 0 and 3s and 0 for 4s, strike out 4 times. You're going to have those rough days. You're going to have your good days. Everything comes in even. But from that day forward, I never, ever did something like that ever again. It was a lesson to be, a first humbling lesson as a 9-year-old. And I'll never forget that day. It was a lesson to be learned that when you strike out, you go play the field. You don't quit on your team. That's a darn good lesson. What DeVonte Campbell did was absolute disgrace, what he did. Selfishly throw his own teammates under the bus. This team has been hit by so many injuries. 2 players on the team lost 2 young kids. And then, and for him to do something like that, I'm glad John Lynch came down there and called him out. I wish Ryan Lott came down and they would have tag team him and gave him some woo licks, though, because that was not acceptable what he did. And, he now has to face the consequences, and sadly, he may never play in the NFL ever again. And then we're going to get some more. We are going to get some more fallback. This was from Stephen A. Smith and former 3-time Super Bowl champion Shannon Sharp on their thoughts. This was, I believe, on ESPN's First Take earlier this morning. We'll let you listen to that clip right now.
We not finna reward. My grandpa used to say, boy, you never reward negative behavior. A kid throws a tantrum. The last thing I'm gonna do is buy you a candy, a toy, or give you ice cream. I'm gonna snatch you up. So what he did in that situation right there, I'm gonna show you, team. Hey,
I haven't heard you on this.
We do not reward negative behavior. What he did was wrong. Because people like, you don't know what he was going through. I just want to know one thing. When did he start going through it? Was it before the game or was it during the game? Because I want to know what phone call that he got that all of a sudden it was something going on that caused him to react in the way that he reacted. What he had a problem with was Dre Greenlaw coming back and getting his minutes. And he was like, he was fine. And then what exacerbated the situation, Stephen A., Greenlaw gets nicked. They need him to go in. Now all of a sudden I don't feel like it. Now you don't wait. Now I need you the absolute most, and you turn your back, man.
How weak is that?
Very ultimate weak sauce.
Yes. Yes. I'm going to say this, Shannon. I appreciate the explanation because I didn't know that. Because my whole point is this. You know, this is what I said Friday.
Yeah.
He'd have been gone. Yeah, he wouldn't have made it to the locker room as a San Francisco 49ers. You quit on a team in the third quarter. Now, Shannon, to me, it's different. Now, again, you played, I did it. Here's the deal. My attitude is, if you get into an argument, you got a problem with the coach, and you don't want to play before the game.
Yes.
That level of dissension and stuff like that happens.
Yes.
That can happen.
Yes.
But I have never seen a dude say, I don't want to play in the middle of the game and quit on his teammates. And
Yeah, that's it, Stephen A. Why are you punishing your teammates?
Well, again, the teammates, what happened, because they expected them to get cut and what have you. Based on what Shannon is saying, it would have been a reward to cut him. All right,
get paid.
obviously he gets paid.
Player.
They're making sure, it ain't happening. You're gonna pay a price here. They gotta make sure that the punishment is palpable, very visible, very conspicuous for everybody to see, and go with it from there. That brother, for me, he would have been gone before he got to the locker room. I'm telling you, quit.
Yeah.
He out of here.
That's the word.
I'd have security escort him out there. He wouldn't even had an opportunity to get
Shannon,
dressed.
what would you have said to him after the game if you saw him?
Nothing. I don't want to see it. That's the worst thing you can do. To put your utmost trust and faith in me, I'll do the likewise to you. And then you telling me when we need you the absolute most, one of our guys has gone down, and so we need you to step in. You're in your feelings. You say no.
And you thought about everybody, but you didn't think about your teammates. And by the way, am I right in saying it resonates?
Because I don't know what's going on in the man, and everybody handles situations differently. Right. But for you to get to the middle of the game, and when you know we need you because the guy in front of you, that's what. And he was like, bro.
Period.
Yeah.
Somebody's better than you.
But it's also the nature of the beast. Like, it's part of the business.
Yes. And how do you explain that? To quit. Quit.
I'm just trying to figure out. I don't care what level it's on. I'm trying to figure out how do you quit in the middle of a game and you cool with going in the locker room and being around the dudes you quit on.
I think because you're trying to send a statement.
I'm just saying.
On the biggest stage.
But let me tell you something. He might have been intended to say, but that's to the organization. Those players had nothing to do.
Right.
All right, that was earlier this morning on ESPN's First Take. That was both Stephen A. Smith and Sterling Sharp, the former Super Bowl champion, three-time Super Bowl champion Sterling Sharp and Stephen A. Smith talking about that issue. And I agree. You know, if he would have told John Lynch, the general manager, if something was mentally in his head, it wouldn't have been so bad. He would have probably at worst, probably third quarter. With this team, this is already for a team that lost the Super Bowl, coming off that devastating, heartbreaking loss in the Super Bowl to the Chiefs last February, 10 months ago, this week to be exact. And then, you know, you lose, the injuries came early and often. You get your a lot has happened. Two players have lost two young kids. Travaris Ward losing his daughter, and then Trent Williams losing his son while his wife was pregnant, 35 weeks in pregnancy. Not to mention the fact Ricky Pearsall, who was shot downtown San Francisco, down at Union Square in the city, able to survive that. By the way, I got a chance to meet his mother Ricky Pearsall's mother, me, and Antonio Orvallo while I was doing my taping of 49ers Tailgate back in September, and just telling we were praying for your son Ricky to get well, and just very briefly because I really did not want her to be on our show because it was just not for me not the appropriate time because she's still dealing with her child who just got shot. I really needed to give her space. But what Campbell did was not cool at all, and he's going to pay for it severely. He's going to lose 3 game checks, lose a chunk of that signing bonus money, etc. And he probably, of all intents and purposes, have played his last games in the NFL. You just don't do stuff like that, I mean, what in this holiday season that see 2 of your players lost in losing their kids. That's not an easy thing. And that brings it back into a personal perspective. What happened to yours truly 3 years ago got caught in a controversy when I was doing play-by-play for the University of San Francisco Dons baseball. A lot of you, in case you don't know, I was with University of San Francisco for nearly a quarter century, 23 years. And unfortunately, there were some issues that came up. The 3 players who didn't make the team went to their parents, and these rich kids, and the parents goes and the mothers and them go up there filing a lawsuit that they're going to sue Coach Georgetown and mess his name up and all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, but that was because of that, because it was compounded by disgraced former USF associate head coach Troy Nakamura when he decided to pull his pants down and swing his private area around, which kind of compounded the situation. And then, after an internal investigation by Title IX, Nakamura for his inappropriate behavior was immediately terminated. Then came back off the field after he was fired, and then coach got let go the early part of the season. Was a devastating season, devastating from yours truly because of what should have been one of those years of the ages, a good team coming back and chance to win the West Coast Conference tournament and go into the NCAA regionals and see if they could do some damage. And because of the 3 players who did that, and coupled with Troy Nakamura's inappropriate behavior, which that kind of triggered the whole thing, because he let everybody down, from the players, coaches, and fans, and and also more was compounded with the way how Joe McDermott, the former AD at University of San Francisco, and Charlie Cross and the rest of the athletic department handled the situation, making up stuff, accusations, and currently right now still with Nino Giarratano still trying to get him cleared for any wrongdoing. And the program has not been the same since. And the point I'm bringing up is like a good thing by the late Bill Walsh saying, when you don't give it your all, the next individual behind you will suffer because of that. And what DeVonte Campbell did was what he did. Everybody suffered because of his selfish behavior. And, I'm glad John Lynch came down there and, gave him the business and got him up out of there, because you can't have that going around. That's just totally not okay. And now he's going to pay the piper for this now, because there's other reasons why the Niners lost that game to the Rams. And, but that incident last Thursday night was kind of been a microcosm of the entire season. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. When we come back, we're going to go back to the year as we continue our 49ers flashback season. We're going to go back to the year 1984, Week 16, 49ers taking on the Los Angeles Rams for a Friday night game at Candlestick Park. This is the 16th and final week. There was no bye weeks back then, how under the old schedule was constructed. We'll take a highlight of the 49ers taking on the Rams on a Friday night from December 14th, 1984. The Niners coming into that game 14-1, playing out the string as champions of the NFC West with the home field advantage for the playoffs and all that secured. They're just trying to get tuned up for the postseason. They're taking on the LA Rams. And of this historical date. So we're going to take this quick time out, and we'll be right back right after this. You're watching 49ers Live tonight, hosted by yours truly, Professor B, on Niners Radio 49. We'll be right back. All right, so we continue on Niners Radio 49 tonight here at the studios here at Satellite Digital Media at Candlestick Man Cave here in San Francisco. Professor B, we are checking us out. If you want to check us out online, go to youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. And always please click the subscribe button. If you're joining us in right now, check us out on youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. I'm just typing this on my screen. Doing this often. So that's the source. So right now we're going to take you back to week 16 of the NFL season. Niners and the LA Rams. And this game was played on a Friday night at Candlestick Park as the Niner faithful witnessing in on some history. Niners and the Rams at Candlestick Park. Niners winning the division, got the number 1 seed. They're trying to already broke the franchise record, eclipsed the franchise record for most wins in a single season. 14 was the old mark set back in 1980 or 13, the previous week when they beat the Minnesota Vikings on a Saturday afternoon at Candlestick 51-7. So now the Niners going in on this Friday night, getting themselves tuned, raised, trying to set a standard, become the first team in NFL history to win 15 games in a season. That will also kind of record, setting a new record standard for in a single season. So now, without further ado, we're going to send you to that segment right now from 1984, week number 16, 49ers Rams on a Friday night at Candlestick Park.
In San Francisco, a 14-1 record has set the 49ers ablaze, and last Friday night, the visiting Los Angeles Rams found the surroundings too hot to handle. While running back Eric Dickerson was forced to cool his heels on the sidelines, 49er quarterback Joe Montana scorched the Ram defense with a hand that's been hot since the opening game of the season. Freddie Salomon's touchdown put San Francisco ahead 7-3 and presented officials with a new twist to the premeditated end zone celebration rule. When denied the opportunity to spike the ball, Freddie simply spiked the defensive back. Minutes later, still in the first quarter, Montana threw for another score as it appeared the 49ers might be celebrating all night. San Francisco built a 17-3 lead that lasted only until Jeff Kemp decided to prove that Montana wasn't the only California quarterback with fancy footwork and poise under pressure. Kemp rallied the Rams back into the contest with the help of Dickerson, who, despite being injured, ran for nearly 100 yards and scored from 4 yards out. Trailing 17-16 in the final quarter, Kemp attempted another Montana-like feat, a late-game drive for the winning score. Unfortunately for the Rams, Gary Big Hands Johnson ended Kemp's masquerade, sacking number 9 for a safety that gave the 49ers a 19-16 win. While both teams are on their way to the playoffs, San Francisco's 15 regular season victories, an NFL record, has them so pumped up they're liable to explode.
All right, so a little delay here. So the Niners ended up winning that game by a score of 19, or it was 19 to 16 was the final score. So the Niners, we're going to recap you that game in just a moment. So we're going to.
Shaking off the effects of a somber season, the Cleveland Browns played out their string in Houston, and the game marked the first time all year that the Oilers were favored to win a football game. But the Browns...
All right, so excuse me for that little technical delay. So the 49ers finishing the season 15-1 became the first team ever in the NFL history to win 15 games in a season. As the 49ers finishing off that first season, as they get ready to take that next step, that next journey to Super Bowl 19. Of course, nice to go back into time. We are going to take a look from also in our flashback segment. We continue on from the year 1984. So we're going to take this quick timeout. We'll take a little bit of a timeout. We'll be right back right after this. You are watching 49ers Live tonight with yours truly, Professor B, on Niners Radio 49. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Niners Radio 49ers Live tonight. Glad you guys joined us on this Monday night. Hope you guys enjoying this, enjoying the mini bye. Of course, a lot of you guys, of course, we're getting some big storms out here in the Bay Area as we're now at mid-December. We're only just 1 week from tomorrow is Christmas. And continue on our 49ers Live tonight as we're still paying homage of the 40-year anniversary of the San Francisco 49ers winning the Super Bowl season of 1984. The Niners coming off a 15-1 regular season finish, and a season for the ages, became the first team in the NFL history to win 15 games in a season under the original 16-game format, which was instituted back in 1978. And we're just going to give you just a recap of that of those from the regular season, or from that regular season finale. And that game was on Friday, December 14th, 1984, at Candlestick Park. So I'm going to pull this up. Give me 1 second. So a lot was going on in that final weekend of the season. So we're going to break down a lot of stuff which was on the line as well. So and Testing. 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 Here we go. So, testing. Yeah, so here we go. So we're going to show you that clip from 1984. This was a big one. It really came down to this. The Dolphins would have won with clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs with a win over the Cowboys. They would clinch the number 1 seed, and that would have, and via with the Cowboys loss, the Cowboys coming in needing a win to clinch a wild card spot. And if they were able to do that, they would finish at 10-6, the same record with the LA Rams, who were in the playoffs, and it would completely eliminate the New York Giants from playoff contention, meaning the Cowboys would be in the playoffs, and then they would host the playoff game, be the number 4 seed against, while the Rams would be the number 5 seed because they beat the Rams head-to-head in week 1 back in the early part of the 84 season. However, the New York Giants, who have no control, it's out of their hands. The only way they can get into the playoffs back in is the Cowboys would lose to the Dolphins. And this game not only had, for both sides, 2 Hall of Fame legends, both Tom Landry and Don Shula, rest in peace. A lot was on the line. Home field advantage, playoff spots won or lost, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. The Dolphins want to have that home field. The road to Palo Alto go through the Orange Bowl, where the Dolphins similarly were invincible at home over the years. And Dan Marino was playing, who broke all the passing records, touchdown passes in a single season. He's trying to set a new standard or become the first quarterback ever to throw for 5,000 yards in a single season. So we are going to show you that clip. I want you to see that clip, and we're going to share you this clip. This is going to be very fun. So, from 1984, we're going to show it to you in just a few moments. We're getting it set up. So we're going to show you that clip right now.
From running that pattern over the middle.
3rd and 3, and Clayton is wide open. Watch out.
And there he is. Gone.
Do you believe it? They can't strike from anywhere. And it's almost... The defensive line is stunned. And the explosive offense we've waited for, we have seen in the last few minutes. Giants can pack their bags once again.
The most popular man in New York and L.A. right now is Mark Clayton.
His 18th touchdown. That broke the record he had tied earlier, set by Don Hudson in 42. Elroy Hirsch in 51.
If I was you.
severely. On first down. Newsom.
Sorry about that. That was, of course, the video courtesy of ABC Sports. That was on ABC's Monday Night Football on this date. Actually marks the 40-year anniversary of that game tomorrow. Dolphins winning that game 28-21. A lot of records were broken. Dan Marino became the first quarterback to throw past for 5,000 yards in a single season. Drew Brees, Tom Brady would, I think, would enjoy that. Years down the road, Mark Clayton breaks Don Hudson's touchdown record with 18 in a single season. Most touchdown receptions in a single season. That record would eventually be eclipsed by the great Jerry Rice 3 years later when he set the mark for most touchdowns in a single season back in 1987. So what a great wild ride for the Miami Dolphins in 1984. They finished the season 14-2. The 14 wins, or their record 14-2, is the second best in franchise history. Of course, they went 14-0 in the regular season in 1972, which on to eventually be their perfect Super Bowl season, 17-0 in 1972. And then, in 1984, Marino breaking all the passing records. So the Dolphins finished 14-2. They now clinch the best record in the AFC. Home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And then for the Dallas Cowboys, a heartbreaking loss. They finished 9-7, and they are eliminated. They're shut out of the playoffs for the first time since 1974, or for the first time in a decade, 10 years, 1974 to be exact, and only for the second time since 1965 that the Cowboys would not be making the playoffs. And if any consolation out of that, the Cowboys do assure themselves at least of having a winning record for the unprecedented 20th consecutive year. But those Cowboys and Big D, nobody was in a foul mood. And as a result of the Cowboys being eliminated, the New York Giants were back into the playoffs for the second time in 4 years, a turnaround year from 3-12-1 for Bill Parcells to 9-7. They would head out to the West Coast to take on the LA Rams for the NFC wildcard spot. Wildcard game on wildcard weekend. So there you have it. The regular season, the 49ers setting a standard for most wins. And now I want to get into more on the Niners Radio 49. Recap that magical 1984 regular season. I go into this Wikipedia. This is some good stuff. I really like sharing stuff like this and get the fans more interested. All right, that was the upcoming event for the Wellness Fitness. That's all the video footage given from 49ers.com. I'd like to thank you for their assistance all year long as the Wellness Night clip. It's nice when we do these events. Shows what the Niners fans doing on and off the field in this community. So let me just, before we go off the air tonight, I'd like to thank all of you watching 49ers Live tonight as we are getting ready to wrap up another show for tonight. And reminder, later this week we will have 49ers tailgate show from last week. It's going to be a great show. We gave away some goodies last week, some stuff from the San Francisco Giants, which, by the way, special shout out to Miss Tess Oliphant for helping us out, giving out stuff for the holidays. Some of the giveaways, we gave away some Giant stuff. We gave away some Hawaii shirts, and we gave away, yours truly gave away two 49er jerseys and a 49ers jacket. So that's a good thing I love to do during this time of the year, give back for those who don't have nothing and the less needy. And I like that, because just like how I got that brand new mixed board stuff for my broadcasting, for my entrepreneurship, and this is something I love doing this time of the year. And it's nothing wrong. It's better to give than receive, and I kind of like it to see somebody have a jersey. And the one cool thing, I gave away a 49er jersey to a Australian a Niner fan from Australia, following the Niners over from the land down under, and I'm gonna post that video up sometime tomorrow, or I'm gonna post that video up. Work on it tonight before I go to bed, and it's gonna be a good show tomorrow. A special holiday edition. We'll put it on later in the week. So, but yeah, so. We'll be back. We'll not have a show tomorrow, but we'll be back at it on Wednesday. We get you ready for 49ers and Dolphins. Miami Dolphins down at Hard Rock Stadium this weekend. We'll try to get somebody for the Miami Dolphins coming on Behind the Enemy Line segment. We'll have to get a chance this week. So thank you for watching tonight for 49ers, Niners Radio 49. Tomorrow or Wednesday, we'll have a recap as we continue celebrate the 49ers' 35th anniversary. The 35th anniversary of their back-to-back Super Bowl seasons from 1989. Tomorrow, we'll take a look back at week number 15 when the 49ers taking on the Buffalo Bills in an interconference matchup in our segment. We'll take a look back at that segment, 49ers and Bills. The Niners, of course, won the NFC West the previous week by beating the L.A. Rams. They get home field advantage. We'll take a look back at the Niners and Bills from week number 15. And then on, I believe, Thursday or Friday, we'll take a look of our 30-year anniversary 49ers Super Bowl season, the last Super Bowl win. Wow. Doesn't feel like that long ago. When they're taking on the Denver Broncos, who the Niners coming in that game, try to extend their winning streak to 10 straight and clinch the top seed in the NFC. So we got a big week coming up this week. We'll be back on Wednesday around midday or in the afternoon. Get you ready for 49ers in the Miami Dolphins interconference game, rematch of Super Bowl 19. And I'd like to thank for all of you for joining us tonight on 49ers Live tonight. And before we go, we'll give you the scoreboard around what happened on Monday Night Football before we take off tonight. Before we sign off the year, we'll give you the score in just a moment. I'm just looking on my as the Vikings handled they end up beating the Chicago Bears 30-12 as they hand the Bears their 8th consecutive loss. The Vikings go to 12-2, Bears go to 4-10. And then other scores, the Falcons over the Raiders 15-9 down in Vegas. So that's it for now. Professor B, I'd like to thank all of you watching Niners Radio 49. And always, please, click the subscribe button, youtube.com/@NinersRadio49. Please click the subscribe. And all the footage we have on there tonight is for educational and teaching purposes only. I do not own any of this copyright. It's just for fair play and for educational purposes. So, I'd like to thank for all you guys watching tonight, and be safe out there for all the people watching the Bay Area or in beyond, wherever with the bad weather we've got out here or beyond. Please be safe out there in these streets. And until then, you enjoy the rest of your night. Professor B signing off, and thank you for watching 49ers Live tonight on Niners Radio 49. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.